Hi, I'm Diane, your host of Epic Conversations, and we are talking today with David McClure. David is the Director of Customer Engagement at Andrew Womack Ministries, and he oversees how many people now? 170 people in 2 departments. So David has his hands full. And today we're going to specifically talk about culture at work. Now, you've got quite a few people to have on this culture. And by the way, I wanted to say, if you're enjoying these episodes, please subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend. We appreciate it. Thank you. So, David, tell me about how do you establish culture at work? And by the way, I'm so glad that you could come back again.
My pleasure. Thanks for asking me. I enjoy being here. So, culture is something I never considered until a few years ago. My years at Cummins, there was a culture there. I just never thought of it. It was just, it was the interactions of people. It was command and control, or it was a group environment. And so I never gave it a thought until I got here 6 years ago and went to work in product services at the time, and they were going through a transition, and so the culture wasn't very good there. And through myself and I was the assistant manager, and my manager, we changed the culture. And go ahead.
I was going to say, at this point, let's give some kind of definition of culture. Okay. What do we mean when you say culture in the work environment? I mean, people could probably guess, but I want it to be a little more specific.
Well, culture, a better word might be to describe it, be attitude.
Oh, okay.
Joy, are the people, do they enjoy being there? Are they enthused about what they're doing? Do they at least get along with the coworkers, even if they're not like tight friends? So, or is it coming to work a drag every day because everybody's, biting at each other and complaining about this? So what's the environment like?
What's the environment? And the culture, too, wouldn't that have to do with management style or priorities?
Management style can be the biggest influencer of the culture.
Oh, okay.
However, you can't blame everything on your boss.
That's true.
Because
yes.
You could have a horrible boss, somebody who screams and yells and throws stuff, just commands perfection, but it doesn't mean that you have to be that way.
Yes.
So that's part of what I want to say is you get to impact the area you're in.
That's good.
It doesn't matter who's in charge, you can impact the area. And here's the other thing is if you don't intentionally set a culture gets created.
Mm-hmm.
I'm suddenly thinking about cheese. If you're not intentional about cheese, mold grows. If you're not intentional about what you want the attitude to be like, what the atmosphere to be like, one's going to get created. And so 4 years ago, I took over communication services, which at that time I had about 130 people. And I am so energetic about what we get to do because we get to help people and serve God every day at work. So I'm passionate about that. And I want everybody else to be passionate about that because it's life-changing for people.
Yeah.
So I was very intentional about communicating my desire and my heart for what we get to do. And slowly started creating, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to act. And recently I was talking with my staff, casting vision for 2021. And to me, the culture of an area is basically the oxygen you breathe. Without oxygen, we perish. But if there's a little oxygen, a lot of carbon dioxide, we get really sleepy, we get cranky. But if we have a good flow of oxygen, it's being breathed in. I don't have to tell you, hey, Diane, the oxygen's over there. It's just where you are. And the culture needs to be that same way. It's just where you're at. So if somebody new comes in and they haven't figured out that, we don't sit there and say, okay, Diane, here's the culture. But once they get out there, they should just realize, wow, this is a joyful place. These people love what they do, even when we have tough phone calls. They just learn it. They just realize the oxygen's there, so what are they breathing in?
Okay. Yes, that's very good. Very, very good.
So when I cast the vision for 2021, so I've been over comm services for 4 years now, and then added product services about 6 months ago. So after 4 years of focusing on not just the culture, but what we do and how we do it, I just felt like 2021, part of I had 4 goals I felt we needed to focus on to strengthen our department. And the first one was culture, that I want to know what the culture is out there. And so I brought 7 questions to my team, and they're questions that you can answer and help, and then I can gauge what you think our culture is.
Well, what, you going to share the questions?
I am.
Oh, I want to hear these. Yeah.
And so I told them, I said, I want you to take these 7 questions to your top line and say, do you believe this exists here? Do you feel this? And then after that, I want to take it to the next line down from that.
Okay.
So first question, or this was a statement, that culture must be built into the team at every level. At every level. Once it is, you want to say something, I can tell.
I was thinking you want the same culture at each level.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Once it is, the entire team will start to perform well, even if the leader is temporarily removed.
Oh.
I want people to never be satisfied, always striving to improve themselves and their team, always assess themselves and their team honestly.
That's like personal growth.
Personal growth, but the growth of the team too.
Yeah.
So if you're the leader of a team, Diane, how's your team? Do you have some bad apples in it? Do you have a piece of cheese, got a little mold on the end of it? You're going to let the mold grow, or you're going to deal with it. So assess yourself, but also assess your team. Insert the "it's possible" mentality into all leaders.
That's good.
And I intentionally said leaders because at the end of the day, the team looks to the leader. And if the leader doesn't have that, it doesn't mean that everything is possible. But if you have the attitude, well, it's possible, you're going to look at it, okay, how can we do that? Versus, oh, we can't do that.
That's good. That reminds me when I saw the movie Facing the Giants by the Kendrick brothers, there was a scene in there where the coach was like, don't quit, don't quit, don't quit. And what it reminded me of is this impossible, it was impossible for him to do this, quote, death crawl, with this other person on the back.
And he crawled the whole length of the field, I remember that.
Yeah, with the blindfold. He didn't know he was going the whole length. But that reminded me when you said, make sure it's possible to look through and not say it is impossible, that it is possible. With God, all things are possible. So it makes the people press in to something greater than themselves.
And then the last thing I said was empowerment. All employees in our department need to realize that they are empowered to make decisions.
Oh, that's good.
And so when they took it to their team and started asking this, do you sense this in our area? Most of them were, yeah. But there's a couple that I thought existed, and some people it's like, no, I don't feel empowered, or I don't feel like my leader thinks it's possible to do something, and those are just minor examples. So what I thought had taken place over 4 years has, but not completely. And maybe that's why God showed me this needs to be part of 2021, is looking at it, because we need this for the continued growth that's coming.
That's good. I like the fact that you actually gave these questions in areas to your team and have them, and then it's like you're almost like a thermometer.
Exactly.
You're testing the temperature of the people in your department and finding out, oh, we got a high temperature here and a low one there.
Yeah, we need to get the flow going.
Right.
That's
it. Well, David, that was awesome. I like that. And I'm sure that our listeners and viewers would enjoy that one too. Thank you for sharing.
Pleasure.
And Thank you for coming back. And thank you for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you next time. We have another episode coming up with David. And in the meantime, have an epic day in the Lord.